राधा कृष्ण पदारविंद Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna. Good morning or good evening, wherever you're located throughout the world on our Zoom call broadcast, originating here in Hamilton, Ontario with myself and devotees from around the world who join us on a regular basis to read and discuss the books given by Srila Prabhupada to us, namely Caitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Our Bhagavad Gita classes on Saturday, and our Srimad Bhagavatam classes on Sunday. And today, this evening's program is Caitanya Charitamrita. So these, along with a few other books, were the main books that Srila Prabhupada wanted his disciples to, he uses the term scrutinizingly study, and in this way become aware of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, because the philosophy of Krishna consciousness comes in verses from these different scriptures. There are 18,000 verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There are approximately 11,000 in Caitanya Charitamrita and 700 in Bhagavad Gita. So they're called Shruta, or concise verses, codes of information on Krishna conscious philosophy. And the business of the guru, the bona fide spiritual master, is to be able to explain these codes of information to his disciples and educate them on this science of self-realization of God consciousness. So Prabhupada expertly presented this philosophy when he was with us personally in his Vapu incarnation. And this particular opportunity is available to all people that look at Srila Prabhupada as their bona fide spiritual master. And Prabhupada lives in his Vani incarnation, different than Vapu. Vapu, it means a personal association, physical form. And Vani means the sound vibration incarnation of the spiritual master. And Prabhupada explains Krishna Katha further, that Acharya is also Krishna. Now, of course, Krishna is different than the Acharya, but at the same time, they're one and different. So this transcendental connection between the bona fide spiritual master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is what enables the spiritual master to speak from the transcendental platform as the via media, transparent via media for Krishna, because of his being fully surrendered to the service of his spiritual master and Krishna. So this is in essence the principle that we follow, and we teach others to do the same thing. There's so much confusion about this point in the ISKCON movement that currently operates in the world as a organization that has carried on after Srila Prabhupada left us. His personal presence was taken from us. And unfortunately, this has been misunderstood. And as a result, these groups have become like cults. Oh, cults. I hope all of you are familiar of the term cult. Actually, I have direct experience about dealing with cults when I was serving full-time in the Toronto Temple as the president. And there was a group that was formed in Toronto called COMA, Council on Mind Abuse. And they, along with a person named Ted Patrick, who was from America, got in the business of kidnapping people that were in different groups and taking them away from the group, kidnapping them literally against their own free will. It was a criminal offense, and eventually Ted Patrick was found guilty by the Canadian government and expelled from this country for that. But irrespective of that, Ted Patrick conducted a deprogramming episode with the Toronto Temple. And they took away brahmacharini at our temple. Linda Epstein was her name. And her father was a somewhat wealthy, relatively speaking, wealthy. No one is really wealthy. People think they are, but money comes and goes. They kidnapped her from the Toronto Temple and took her to Nova Scotia, Kent, Nova Scotia. And there they tried to normalize her from our process of Krishna consciousness, because their definition of a cult was that the people would become brainwashed by the charismatic leaders. So they would try to normalize the behavior. So, for example, we as devotees, we chant 16 rounds a day. Now that is approximately 28,000 names a day of the holy names of Krishna. Now they look at it as this is a repetition of a sound that would brainwash the person that was doing it. Brainwashing. Repetition of the holy name. If you were a chain smoker, they wouldn't say you were brainwashed. You've got this cigarette in your hand and you're twirling it. And if you're a chain smoker, like some people, they're constantly smoking all day. They've got to roll the cigarette in their fingers using the sense of touch. But for us, we roll the beads. Oh, that's brainwashing. But cigarette smoking, that's okay. This is the madness of this organization that was trying to normalize people. They would say, for example, oh, here's another symptom of brainwashing. Prabhupada taught us to offer our food to Krishna. Oh, yes. and no meat, fish, and eggs. Oh, so they misinterpreted to mean malnutrition. If you don't eat meat, you suffer from malnutrition. And in this way, you could be easily manipulated by the charismatic leader. So instead of explaining to people the laws of karma, instead of explaining to people the evils of animal slaughter, instead of explaining to people the evils of the fast food industry, which is very prevalent in this society, everyone knows how bad fast food is for your health. There was an experiment done on a McDonald's hamburger meal. I don't know if you're aware of this, Dasa Avatar, but they let the food just sit out in the air for a year and it didn't deteriorate. Huh. Oh yeah, but you're offering your food, your spiritual food, to a deity. We don't understand that either. It's idol worship. But at the same time, we'll worship all kinds of mundane persons who have no credibility really in life except some kind of material talent or money they've achieved. And in this way, you're involved in idol worship. Okay, very interesting. So you see how they're systematically manipulating words to convince people that we're brainwashed. Another thing they pointed out at the time back then, and they still do it now, they talk about sleep deprivation. Oh, these people get up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning. They go down to the temple rooms and they chant the holy names of God. Actually, this is a very auspicious activity, Krishna Katha, to rise early in the morning. It's not a system of brainwashing. I work with a friend who's best friends with actor Mark Wahlberg. I'm actually the band leader for him if I ever play. And I also consult him on his affairs in Hollywood, working with that industry with Mark Wahlberg. Well, Mark Wahlberg gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And what does he do? He goes and exercises. He's trying to make his body, preserve it at 53 years of age. He's trying to make his body look nice. Oh, look at how nice Mark's body is. So if we get up early and we chant our rounds, we do kirtan, we have Tulsi worship, we have Srimad Bhagavatam class, we have breakfast, we're crazy. This is what they say. Or were saying to me directly back then. In fact, the Attorney General's office came to the Toronto Temple and interrogated me. Oh, it was actually, I really appreciated the interrogation. It's like a boxer. Does a boxer, Dasa Avatar, look forward to the fight, or does he want to run away and hide in the dressing room and hope the opponent goes away? No. A boxer wants to get in the ring. That's me. Not boxing in that sense, but in the sense of wanting to explain to people what is the reality of Krishna consciousness as opposed to the reality of the materialistic man living in human society, completely bewildered that they're the body, that they are under illusion, a tremendous illusion. And this, I had the opportunity, I was on a national TV show. Actually, there were lots of interviews of us because in my particular role, I was interviewed by a magazine called Maclean's magazine. It's like Times magazine, Times. We had extensive interview and pictures and this and that. They're looking for fault in us. Of course, a lot of people are fault finders. They're not fact finders. But at any rate, we were on a program called the Schulman File. And there was Professor O. Joseph O'Connell on the program. Oh, yeah. And there was a police officer and a person from Coma on mind abuse. And Morton Schulman was on the show. And I think it was a panel of 7 of us. So now I was the Das Avatar. I was the cult representative. It was after the Kool-Aid test, as Krishna Katha calls it, by Jim Jones. There was a cult leader in Guyana, and he forced people to take this Kool-Aid contaminated with poison and killed 900 people. So this was at the heyday of the anti-cult movement with Ted Patrick and Jim Jones. So they looked at me, they said, "You're brainwashing people on national television." I go, "I'm brainwashed?" "You're brainwashed." That's what I told them. You're all brainwashed. You're brainwashed by media, television, fake media. You're brainwashed by the newspapers and the propaganda that comes out in them that's all controlled by money interests. You're brainwashed by your lack of understanding of who you are, and you think you're the body. Oh my God, they were upset with me. They were arguing and this and that. It was fun, actually, to explain to them the truth. They couldn't really say anything. They just speculate, just like a lot of people speculate on everything. And in this way, they were trying to say that the devotees of the Hare Krishna movement were brainwashed. Sleep deprivation, mind control through chanting, food deprivation, all these so-called explanations about mind control. But the fact of the matter is, this is a process for Krishna consciousness development. It's not a process for destruction of a person's character. Now, it's interesting to note that a cult, the term cult, it means, Das Avatar, the term cult means a group of people with a set of beliefs. And you'll see, like, they would refer to the books when looking at our philosophy, and they'd see, look at your guru is calling your group a cult. Using the term, the cult of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, this is a misrepresentation of the meaning of the word cult, because cult means a group of people with a set of beliefs. And Prabhupada was an educated man, and back when he was writing his books in the early years, he would use the term, which was a correct term in English. Now it has become a pejorative term, pejorative Krishna Katha. That's what it is. A negative term to describe a group of people with a set of beliefs. Now, in the particular situation, now the other characteristic of a cult is a charismatic leader. And that's what we have in ISKCON these days, is charismatic leaders. We do cult leaders. These people create their own sectarian groups, and they're operating with private bank accounts, private corporations, and private ambitions to expand the number of followers and disciples that they have. And it's quite insidious, actually. It's so deviant. They even changed Prabhupada's books to justify it. From he has seen the truth to they have seen the truth. That's premeditated action by these people, premeditated, malicious action by them for selfish motives. Cults, run by cult leaders. There's so many of them. Caitanya, Swami, so-called, is the sort of the one of the top cult leaders. There are lots of them, actually. I mean, he was involved. If you saw the Paragon videos that came out on television recently, and it's been broadcast to millions of people in that
Peacock.
particular, yeah, Peacock, in that particular broadcast, they told about the murder of a devotee that was a dissenter in the philosophy of our mission, because they were concocting different ideas about so-called the philosophy of guruship. They were concocting the understanding of editing. And we as dissenters stood up, and of course with all of us, we're dissenters. We are dissenters, despite the fact that we're under risk for that. We're not really, if we don't go around these people. But if you go around them, you could be beaten. We had that situation recently by one of our godbrothers beat one of our members here, Ron Singh, at the Sacramento Temple 3 weeks ago. Because Ron Singh does not accept their bogus guru system and their bogus translation of the books. You're a dissenter. Oh, you have no right to. This is not how you deal with dissension. You don't deal with dissension with violence. You have to have rational dialogue. And most corporations, everyone, that run intelligently embrace dissension as a means to improve their operation. That's how it works in the karmi world. And here we have so-called the spiritual movements. And what do? They beat you. They defame you. They assassinate your character. And in this way, they spread their poison. Dissension is not a bad thing. And I'm recommending to everybody, you voice your opinion to the so-called ISKCON leaders wherever you go in this world, wherever you are, to let them know that we do not, that our group of many devotees, and there are thousands of us, that do not accept their philosophy of guruship and change of books, protecting Prabhupada's legacy. So I see Yashoda was on I was giving an extended talk today because my godbrother Yashoda, Nandana Prabhu, was at some appointments and told us he would be a little late, and he's on board here. So what we'll do, I gave an extensive discussion on cultism, extensive. So I hope everyone that missed it at the beginning can go back to the beginning of this program and see how we constructed this whole understanding of cultism and our firsthand experience as Prabhupada disciples in dealing with it. We have experience, yes, we're sharing it with everyone, because I know that a lot of our people are new people. They never heard of anything like this. We have this devotee in France, Bhakta Jack. What is it, Ron Singh? What's his name?
Bhakta Jad.
Bhakta Jad.
Bhakta
Yes,
Jad.
I had a very nice conversation with him this week. And it was very enlivening, by the way, everyone. Extremely enlivening to speak to him. He's 27 years old. And he's completely committed to going on Sankirtan. He lives by himself in France. And he goes out and sells books and supports himself that way. That's what Prabhupada did. I was just reading that in the diaries today, these excerpts that we're going to read from. The Prabhupada used that system for support. So this is a good system. And we do want to thank everyone that has donated generously to the GoFundMe program, which is a very important program that everyone here should enthusiastically support, not sit on the sidelines and look at us and say, why are you doing this? But look at it as as an opportunity for an individual to work with us to give money from their bank accounts, which are being used not just for personal maintenance, but used for personal maintenance. Take some of that money, whatever amount you can do. Naveen Krishna gave 6,000 US, which was very, sort of appreciated by our group. He gave 6,000. That was very good. So whatever you can afford. Now we will give a set of books after they're printed. We're underway for that, getting that done. After we get them printed, we will send anybody who gives us any donation a set of these Bhagavatams, and they're worth a lot. Das Avatar, we've been researching online to find sets of these Bhagavatams. They're hard to find. And I've been speaking to printers. Some of these sets are selling for $350 a set. One set. And Ron Singh just bought a set online. He got a deal for $135 US. Of course, we had no intention of, did you get them, Ron? Look at that. He's got them. He just received them. How much did you pay for them, Ron?
You said it right, 135. Now they're going for much more. So
they're hard to get, yeah. So these are very valuable. These are very valuable books. And Krishna blessed us with this opportunity to do this. Gave us the idea somehow or other. Was blessed to develop this campaign, we as a group. And we're hoping that everyone, these books, we're not going to plan to sell them for that much money, by the way. We want to distribute all the sets that we get printed to people that at a reasonable, very reasonable price, and let them cherish these books for future generations. Study them themselves and cherish them as their most valuable possessions, Prabhus. And so like this service, if you give money for this, you'll be blessed by Krishna. Do not act in a way that you want to see Krishna, Prabhupada said. Act in a way that Krishna will take notice of you. And guaranteed, all of us, for doing this, promoting this, getting it printed, and for distributing these books, we will draw the attention of Krishna into our lives. So give generously to the Hare Krishna Society charity and our GoFundMe program, because we, all of these things are rather expensive, let's say. Hare Krishna. So we'll read, I'm just going to, of course, go just to read a little bit more here from the diaries, excerpt from the morning walk conversation on January 21st, 1974 in Hawaii. Prabhupada O'Brake distributed big books from the very beginning. So this is about book distribution. Thank you. So, distributed big books from the very beginning. Bali Mardan and samosas. And Prabhupada, and samosas, yes. So he was distributing food along with books to entice people. Of course, people are more interested in eating than reading. But one leads to the other. Sounds like a rock song. One bookseller in New York, Bali Mardan. Yes, paradise, paradise. And Bali Mardan, yes, I think that is it. The woman was telling us, Prabhupada, yes, she was friendly. Mrs. Max Lander, her husband is the proprietor, and she would call her husband, Max, why don't you take these books like this? She was friendly, and that Mr. Max was first-class businessman. He will extract as much profit as, and he laughs, Hare Krishna. It was sold practically in the beginning. They were selling, I was getting some money. There was no other income. No other income. So Prabhupada did it intelligently. He was the first book distributor in the movement. And he worked constantly on it as his service. for a variety of reasons. Ultimately, his purpose was to distribute knowledge in these transcendental literatures that he so expertly presented to the world. Oriental, Bali Mardan, yes, Oriental. Nitai, Orientalia, yes, the lady was secretary of Dr. Mishra. Dr. Mishra was helping Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada would offer samosas to the manager of the bookstore when he came to sell his books. And we'll do one more excerpt today. Excerpt from a morning walk conversation with His Divine Grace in Los Angeles on June 25th, 1975. Dr. Judah, he was a big professor. Devotees, I think, a long time, haven't you? Yes, Brahmananda was one of the originals. Dr. Judah, I've seen his picture so oftentimes in the Back to Godhead magazine playing the mridanga. Jai Tirtha, what is it? 10 years, Brahmananda, or 9 years, Brahmananda? Well, 66. August 66, Dr. Judah, August 66. You're one of the very earliest, Prabhupada. Actually, now Prabhupada speaks up here. Actually, I began this movement from July 66. I came in 65, but I could not do anything. I was loitering here and there. Actually, I began my preaching work from June 66, July, I think, yes. So he's counting his real preaching to start when they opened up Matchless Gifts at 26 2nd Avenue. And that's when it really took off, when he got organized. This is our hope, too, that in due course of time, intelligently, we will organize and reestablish the Krishna consciousness movement as an alternative to the ISKCON group where people are being misled. That's the reality of it. Being misled. Dr. Judah, you must have been one of the hippies he converted there in Tompkins Park then, Brahmananda. Well, I wasn't quite a hippie, laughter. There weren't hippies at that time. It was just the beginning. So I had been in the university. I graduated from NYU, but I had been to India. Dr. Judah, you had been to India? Brahmananda, yes. I was planning on going back also. I wanted to take a further degree. I was applying for a Fulbright. Dr. Judah, I see. So it's interesting that Prabhupada's there. This Dr. Judah is asking about Brahmananda. That's a little bit off target, but anyway, not bad at all. And by the way, in the Krishna consciousness movement back then, it was very popular to go to India, and by Krishna's grace and Prabhupada's blessings on me, I went to India 10 times, and I attended over 175 classes of Srila Prabhupada personally at the Mayapur festivals. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And the Prabhupada Disciples Association and its membership that are propagating the Sankirtan mission of Srila Prabhupada by publishing and distributing his original Srimad Bhagavatams. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari by Srila Prabhupada, and then we'll have the discussion and reading led by His Grace, and we're very fortunate to have him with us, Yashodanandana Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bratajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Amaspat Paramahansa Paribhrajagacharya Sittareshwara Smadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Ki Jai Ananta Kodi Vaishnavindra Ki Jai Ramacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktamani Ki Jai Sri Radha Krishna Mokh Gopinath Sam Khund Radha Khund Giri Godan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Guru Dwarka Dham Ki Jai Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on the Sri Caitanya Charitamrita. Today, as we do every week, we will be reading a few select verses from the Adi Lila chapter 1, from text number 18 to 22, which explains the meaning and the great benefit of hearing this great, powerful, transcendental literature. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Text 19. Etina Thakur Gaudiya ki karye chena yatmasat. Etinera charana vandana tire morenat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Grantera Rambi Kari Mangala Charana, Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I've invoked their benedictions. Text number 21. Tinera smaraneai vigna vinashana, anayaseai nijavanchita purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Text 22. Se mangala charanai trividha prakar vastu nirdesha shiravada namaskara. The invocation involved three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. As we do every week, we will proceed with our reading of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We will be reading this week from the Adi Lila, chapter 4, text number 237. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Ataeva Bhaktagani Kari Namaskara Nisanke Kahiya Taraho Chamatkara. Ataeva, therefore, Bhaktagane, unto the devotees, Kari, I offer, Namaskara, obeisances, Nishanke, without any doubt, Kahiye, I say, Tara, of the devotees, how let there be, Chamatkara, astonishment. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, after offering obeisances to the devotees for their satisfaction, I shall speak without hesitating. Text 238. Krishnera vichare ko chaye antare purnananda purnarasa rupa kahe mori. Krishnera, of Lord Krishna. Vichara, consideration. Eka, one. Achaye, is. Antare, within the heart. Purnananda, complete transcendental bliss. Purnarasa rupa, full with transcendental mellows. Kahe more, they say unto me. Translation. Once Lord Krishna considered within his heart, everyone says that I'm complete bliss, full of all rasas. Text number 239. Amaete anandita tribhuvana, amake anante dibyaeche konjana, amaete, from me, anandita, please, aya, becomes, tribhuvana, all the three worlds, amake, unto me, Anandadibi will give pleasure. Oiche, such. Konjana, wet person. Translation. All the world derives pleasure from me. Is there anyone who can give me pleasure? Text 240. Amoete yarohai shata shata guna. Sejana alladite parimoramana. Amoete, then me. Yara, whose? Oya, there is. Shata shata guna, hundreds of qualities more. Sejana, that person. Alladite, to give pleasure. Pare is able. Mora, my. Mana, to the mind. Translation. One who has 100 times more qualities than me could give pleasure to my mind. Text 241. Amoete guni bada jagati asambhava ekali radhati taha kari anubhava amoete than me. Guni, qualified. Bada, greater. Jagate, in the world. Asambhava, there is no possibility. Ekali, only. Radhati, in Srimati Radharani. Taha, that. Kari anubhava, I can understand. Translation. One more qualified than me is impossible to find in the world, but in Radha alone, I feel the presence of one who can give me pleasure. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prasantaya Tasme Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Bandhanam Khadyam Guru Bandhana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Adadhanastrinam Danteridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimadrupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshago Nityam Tat Preshta Sat Karumi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Here in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is dealing with some very intimate section of the entire book, the exalted position of Srimati Radharani. We see also in this Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita how Krishnadas Kaviraj has quoted a verse from the Adi Purana describing the very unique position of Vrindavana, Radharanis, and the Gopikas, the coward girls of Vrindavana. Because we often find that materialistic persons, even great scholars and great academics, will often misunderstand the exalted position of Radharani and Lord Krishna and their relationship. So this verse is taken from the Adi Purana. It's a conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. It is said, Trailoke Pritividanya Yatra Vrindavanam Bhuvi. yatrapi gopikaha parta yatra radha bidham mama. What this means is that this Vrindavan is most fortunate on this earth planet, because on this planet, Radharani came and the gopis are there. So this is a very exalted topic to understand. And materialistic person, regardless of how scholarly they are, of how accomplished they may be with their PhDs and MA degrees and master's degrees, this knowledge cannot be properly understood unless it is received in disciplic succession and from a realized soul, from a liberated soul. Now, we've discussed this before. One of the reasons people misunderstand is given by Prabhupada himself. This is in the Adi Lila chapter 1, the first 2 pages before text 1, where Prabhupada described the subject matter of this book is not a mental concoction, but a factual spiritual experience that one can realize only by accepting the line of disciplic succession described above. Just today, I had a brief discussion with Krishna Kataprabhu, and we were discussing whether there's any evidence in our sampradaya of any acharya accepting somebody as a guru who is departed, who is no longer living. And so, yes, there is evidence, and it's right here in this page. It is described that Srila Narottam Das Thakur, who accepted Vilashanath Chakravarti as his servitor, in another lecture, Prabhupada said that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur accepted Narottam Das Thakur as his guru. Well, the problem is they never met. They never physically met. They were never on the planet Earth at the same time. So how did he accept him as his guru? In what sense of the word did he accept Narottam? In what sense of the word did Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur accept Narottam Das Thakur as his spiritual master? Through the transmission of transcendental knowledge. Prabhupada says any deviation from that line will bewilder the reader's understanding of the mystery of Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, which is a transcendental literature meant for the postgraduate study of one who has realized all the Vedic literatures, such as the Upanishads and Vedanta, and their natural commentary. Now, this is very important because we see that Srila Prabhupada one time, when we were at the Radha Damodar temple for the Nectar of Devotion lectures in late October, beginning of November 1972 in Vrindavan, Mathura district, India, he described a very important point. He said, this book, Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, if you read regularly, try to understand, this means you are associating with Srila Rupa Goswami directly. So much for the Vapuvadis. Those who have a materialistic bodily conception of disciplic succession will not be able to understand how to serve and associate with the Acharya. This is a very important point. During Prabhupada's manifested presence, many times he would admonish devotees, don't go outside of the society. Do not go to all these Radhakund Babajis, all of these other so-called Goswamis, all of these so-called groups, because Prabhupada knew that people will become misled. People will misunderstand the philosophy. This jumping over the order of the Acharya is very injurious for a candidate in spiritual life. Very injurious. We've discussed in the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction to Rupa Goswami, there are so many warnings by Srila Prabhupada in the purports. You know, devotional service, meaning that basically there are things that one must do and other things that one should not do, must not do. And one of the things that Prabhupada recommended is for devotees to stay in the association of devotees. Now, the problem with that, because devotees will often bring up this other part of Caitanya Charitamrita, where Prabhupada makes a very ominous statement that if one thinks there are many non-devotees or pseudo-devotees in the Krishna conscious society, one can associate directly with the spiritual master. But Prabhupada further cautions one should associate with devotees. So one has to use his intelligence. The question is, how do we associate directly with the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada? Why did Prabhupada write these books? So they would become obsolete after he departs? No. They're still very alive today. One can connect directly with a pure devotee. But one has to do it in the proper way, in the bona fide way. If one hears from unauthorized devotees or so-called self-appointed acharyas or voted-in acharyas, he will not understand the philosophy. Or if one reads books that have been interpolated, changed, basically sacrileged, or basically interpolated to suit a personal political agenda, how will they understand the philosophy? We keep referring, you cannot have two basic sets of understanding. One understanding from Prabhupada is he has seen the truth, and the self-appointed Acharya crowd, or the LJEP crowd, the Living Guru Experimental Project crowd, will tell you, oh, no, they have seen the truth. Oh, really? Who is they? Why did Prabhupada choose to translate this text, which in Sanskrit, honestly, as the plural, upadikshanti is plural, but Prabhupada chose to translate into English as singular, because Prabhupada knew from a historical perspective, he was the empowered ambassador, the empowered agent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He knew that his books could deliver the whole universe, the whole planet, everybody. And he requested his disciples to promote his books, to read his books, to preach his books, to distribute his books. What do we have now? The LJEP, the Living Guru Experimental Project, is telling people, oh, no, go to our websites, go to our videos, read my books, read my version of Krishna consciousness. This was not Prabhupada's idea. This was not Srila Prabhupada's instruction. This was not Srila Prabhupada's order. Prabhupada wanted his books to be the main basis of the Krishna consciousness movement in the future for the next 10,000 years, 9,500 years. But now we've got a split movement with all these different tribes and different guru cults, each one trying to promote themselves. Somebody may say, well, what caused all this? Why is that? Well, we've discussed this. The 3 Ps: profit, adoration, and distinction. Manifested in the, how is it manifested? Posing, posturing, and pretending. Don't pretend that you're on a level that you have not achieved. There was one of these leaders who was protested vehemently that the samsara prayers don't apply only to Prabhupada. Okay, well, who does it apply to? Who does Nikunjayuno apply to? Let's use our intelligence. If Prabhupada could have seen one disciple or group of disciples who had achieved these levels of realization, why didn't he point it out? Prabhupada was very expert in engaging his disciples for the propagation of the Krishna consciousness movement. We see it on every page in his books, in all of his instruction, in his conversations. Last week, I want to address something here. We had some devotees that brought up the point about karma. What happens if devotees give donation and the money is misused? This is a conversation at Mayapur in the morning walk in 1976, March 14th, 1976. March 14th, 1976 in Mayapur, India on a morning walk, Achyutananda Swami. If a man says, I'm giving you this donation because it is a spiritual organization, but if the money is misused, does that man benefit? Srila Prabhupada, if money is misused, then both of them become implicated. If it is not used for Krishna, then both of them becomes under the laws of karma. Another point that Prabhupada raised. This was from a letter from Srila Prabhupada on October 16th, 1971. October 16th, 1971. Prabhupada says, my only point is that we are dealing with the public. They're paying us money, and we should handle them so carefully so that they may think us as spotless. Another letter from Srila Prabhupada. On the 29th of May, 1976, His Divine Grace says the daily collections from the temple should be counted before 3 persons together. The accountant has nothing to do with these things. He simply notes down the figures in the books. This is how it should be done. Another letter from Srila Prabhupada. On July 4th, 1975, Srila Prabhupada, I'm instructing Rameswar to send Guru Kripa's collection to the buildings as soon as possible. You must also keep proper account. Not a single farthing should be wasted. I will see the accounts personally when I return to Bombay. So we'll leave it at that for now. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to His Divine Grace and His wonderful instructions.
Extremely insightful. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to put them up on the screen for everyone to read this evening. That's our general practice. But nonetheless, if you go back to the classes at Hare Krishna Society YouTube page, you can capture the texts that and parts of the books and letters that Yashodananda was reading from, and look them up yourself for verification. And I wanted to just go, I'm going to read a section from Caitanya Charitamrita, text 226, which is just back a bit from where we are today. And it's describing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus he initiated the Dharma for the age of Kali. The devotees of Lord Chaitanya know all these truths. So the followers of Lord Chaitanya, whether they were personally present with him or they're with us now and following this mission, will get an understanding of how to appreciate the opportunity that all of us have here in this group. And I'll just be quick with it. Thus he initiated the Dharma for the age of Kali. The devotees of Lord Chaitanya know all these truths. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Chaitanya is Sri Krishna himself, the absolute enjoyer of the love of the gopis. He himself assumes the role of the gopis to taste the predominated happiness of transcendental mellows. He appeared in that mode, but simultaneously, he propagated the religious process for this age in a most fascinating way. 2 aspects to what he was here for. Only the confidential devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can understand this transcendental secret. Only those devotees that are committed to the Sankirtan movement. Now, when is the time and space related to this? Well, there is no time and space in the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. This is an eternal opportunity for each one of us, Dasa Avatar. An eternal opportunity to participate in the Sankirtan process that Srila Prabhupada propagated in his arrival in New York in 1965. So try to connect the dots. Try to live in this dynamic world of spiritual service, not mental speculation, not mental concoction, not narcissism, but in a transcendental mood of cooperation, because Sankirtan means devotees working together. Sankirtan means a community of devotees propagating the Krishna consciousness movement. And here Prabhupada says very clearly that only the confidential devotees, those who want to be part of this internal pastime of Lord Caitanya and Srila Prabhupada with us, will be able to understand this secret of Krishna consciousness. It is a secret. Yashodanandana Prabhu, if you could further.
Again, this is a very important point that you're raising here, because many times we see devotees will say, well, I'm a devotee, I the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, I chant, but the point is, how much service is one willing to do? We've often referred to a conversation we had with Srila Prabhupada in Bombay at the end of December 1972. We had gone to South India. Incidentally, we were the first devotees that went to Bangalore in Karnataka, India. At that time, the state was called Mysore State. So one time we went to a very wealthy silk merchant in Bangalore. It was just around the closing time. We got there at 8:30 p.m. and the shop was closing at 9 o'clock. So they were busy basically closing everything down. And the owner was quite busy. His mind was taken up with putting money away, putting different silk garments away. So we approached him and requested him for a donation for the building of the Krishna Balaram temple at the time. So he kept telling us, oh, there are so many other people that have money, why don't you approach them? And we told him, well, Krishna has given you some good wealth, and he's given you some good facilities, good opulence, so why don't you contribute? And his point, well, God is everywhere, he's in everything, and you can come back some other time. You say, well, if you say God everywhere, he's also in your safe there, he's also in your cash box, why don't you release him? So the man liked the argument, and he ended up giving a donation. When we related to Srila Prabhupada the story of what happened, he said, what you should tell people like this, very tactfully, is you tell them that Krishna does not look so much how much you give, but how much you are keeping for yourself, for your own enjoyment. So in other words, as devotees, we know what should be done. But sometimes the attachment to so many other things comes in. So the point is, that also applies to us. How much are we willing to give to Srila Prabhupada and his mission, and the promotion of his books, the promotion of his message, the promotion of his divine instructions? It's up to us to make that sacrifice and also get the benefit. There's great transcendental power and benefit in donating for Krishna and for Srila Prabhupada to get these books printed. This is not a difficult thing to understand, but we know there's a lot of obstacles. Maya will say, oh, don't do this, you'll have less money for this, you'll have less money for that, less money for a car, less money for your enjoyment, less money for opulent prasadam. Let's focus on Srila Prabhupada and his mission. That will please his divine grace and Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, so, devotional service is dynamic, it's not static. And the dynamic nature of devotional service that is beyond time and space. And Prabhupada speaks about that constantly in his lectures, that we want to be connected. This is the system of yoga, to link with God. And the best way to link with him is to be part of a mission. In other words, if you don't have a mission in life, you have no purpose. Mission is very valuable. everyone should have a reason for living. Now, a lot of people, Yashodanandana Prabhu, their mission is to become famous, say, for example, in the material world. I want to become the greatest and the best. Here we have a case in Russia of a fellow, I can't pronounce his last name, Khabib. He's an MMA fighter. Now, it's very interesting to note, I was watching his inauguration into the Hall of Fame for the MMA group. And he started out his speech by saying, first of all, I want to give all credit to Allah. That is how I see things. It is not because of me, it's because of God that I've been blessed with this opportunity. And I also want to thank my father. Without my father, I could not have achieved anything. And I'm very heartbroken that he's left me. He passed away a few years ago. And this fellow gave up his fighting career because he had no more heart, because his father had left. And I was watching this and I was thinking about our position with Prabhupada as our guru. And in a relative sense, he had left us. It was a very tragic day when that happened and the announcement came. I can remember for days, many of us were weeping profusely. I just couldn't believe that it had happened. But we're reassured now that Prabhupada is still with us in his Vani incarnation. And we're very blessed with that. And we also have a mission to spread the Sankirtan movement, not to be champion of the world. These positions come and go. But the position of an eternal servant of the pure devotee is, it is not to be minimized. It's indestructible. It cannot be lost, any service that you render. Prabhupada said one thing about Krishna consciousness. Even if you render one service, you never lose the benefit of that service. And in next life, you take it up again and you begin to increase your devotional service. So the more, it's indestructible, immeasurable, eternal. That's what Prabhupada is sharing with us, this opportunity to rise up out of the material modes of nature and sit on the transcendental platform, following in his footsteps. Krishna Katha, following in the footsteps of the spiritual master. And the footsteps are specific. And if we follow this, we will taste. This is guaranteed. The more that you practice this process, the more that you implement it in your personal life, whoever you are on this call, and whoever's listening to this, in the future, for the next so many thousands of years, when you hear us having presented this to the human society in the future, you will feel the ecstasy of spiritual life through practical application. No application, no realization. This is not Vijnanam, Jnanam, Vijnanam. It's not just Jnanam, it's Vijnanam. You only get realization by the application of the philosophy in your personal life. That's why we always encourage everyone, chant 16 rounds. Dasa Avatar, we always do that. Chant 16 rounds, read the books, attend these classes. I see we got a comment from someone that Yashoda sent me. Oh, I want to get initiation. Oh, I want to become a Prabhupada disciple. Okay, that's a good thing. Actually, it's a great thing that you're requesting that. And Yashodanandana very brilliantly responded to him. Yes, well, follow the rules and regulations. Attend these classes 3 times a week for 6 months. Understand what we're saying as a group and apply it in your life. And in this way, you'll make advancement, and then your desire for becoming a Prabhupada disciple will be developed by your personal effort of discipline. If there is no discipline, if there is no humility, if there's no submissiveness, there can be very little bit of advancement in spiritual life. This is not a movement of followers. This is a movement of disciples that are following strictly Prabhupada's directions, Krishna Katha. And each of us individually has that responsibility. This Khabib fellow was saying, 99% of the people in this world, this is what his opinion was, okay, are lazy. They cannot do anything. They're lazy. Just like a lot of different countries, the people are called sheeple. They're followers because they don't know what to do. This is a sheeple. We are not a group of sheeple. Ron Singh was talking to me today about it. He was explaining what was the comment about the cows in the shed, Ron? What was the quote? Are you there, Ron Singh? We don't need cows that give no milk in the Goshala. We need people that are ready to participate. So I see that Ron's not there, unfortunately. Krishna Katha, maybe you could share some insights. In Sacramento, no, San Diego.
San Diego, Hare Krishna.
You've been there for
Thank
a
you,
while.
Vishwakarma. Thank you, Yashodanandana Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. A couple of quick comments, sharing some realizations that come up as you sincerely follow this disciplinary process that Prabhupada has given us. What you were just speaking about. We are not followers, we are practitioners of this process. This process is a science. You follow it, the steps that Prabhupada has laid out, the result is there. Right?
Yep.
Is the ultimate result Krishna Prema. So regarding this ongoing subject about these mental speculators that have somehow or other made a choice, and Krishna fulfills our choices, our desires, to replace Prabhupada and minimize him by saying you have to be in a living body to represent.
We're having a bit of interference with the internet.
We know this is bogus. Part of Prabhupada's regulator principle. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Did it come back? No?
Yeah, it's back now.
Still no?
It came back.
Okay,
back
good.
now.
So just to make a quick point, that Prabhupada equates mental speculation with gambling, the fourth regulator principle. So technically, in the lineal line of logical thinking, if you're speculating, you're gambling. So all of these persons that pose and posture and are therefore this exterior "I'm your guru" nonsense are really breaking the fourth regulator principle. They're not following the four regular principles. If you think about it that way, think about it for a second. When someone goes and gambles, right? They are speculating that they're going to win this lotto or win this race that they bet on, or they bet this way, they bet that way. These are the gambler mentality, are all speculators. So Prabhupada has equated this. So Are these poser posture people following the four regular principles? Not according to Srila Prabhupada. So I find that very interesting. And there's another thing I'd like to say, and that is Prabhupada makes a very good point in a 1976 Honolulu, Hawaii room conversation, May 30th, 1976, Honolulu, Hawaii. Prabhupada says, in quotes, well, everyone is engaged to become Shiksha Guru, but one should become perfect. The attempt is what is called probationer. When probationer period is finished, then he is naturally, automatically bona fide guru, not in the probation period. That is an immature attempt. That will be failure. Amara Anjanaya, Caitanya Charitamrita Madhya 7128, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, by my order. So all my disciples are
Okay. You've lost your connection again, Prabhu, on the internet. Thank you, Krishna Kata. We're not able to hear you. You can't tell. This is the glory of the internet. Sometimes it doesn't work. But he lives up in the mountains in San Diego, and his reception sometimes doesn't work. So we'll move forward here. We'll
on my order, not before. And you can see this stepping before Baba. Hare Krishna. Sorry for the.
It's not working. We'll go to another person. But thank you. I know your internet connection is somewhat disconnected.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. I live in the mountains with poor internet.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It just happens that way. Ron Singh, are you there in San Diego or Sacramento? Are you there to comment on today's program?
Yes, I'm here, Prabhu. Yeah, I mean, wonderful class as usual. You know, we have to take shelter of someone, and the best person to take shelter of is Srila Prabhupada. He gave the books, he built the movement, he inspired the devotees, and he's going to continue to inspire people who want to be inspired. So everyone should take an active role in his movement, because Prabhupada had the Shakti to empower, do wonderful things. So if you want to do something nice for Srila Prabhupada, it's a very natural thing to, father likes to be pleased when the son gives back and talks about the father, gives his books. So similarly, Prabhupada being a transcendental personality, we should take up this service, whatever we can. As we advance in our Krishna consciousness, you'll see that, there's so much service that can be done. It's unlimited, because if you see what Srila Prabhupada wanted, he wrote the books, he established temples, he inspired the devotees, he wrote letters. So all these things we can use in our personal lives to help others, because everyone is basically confused in this material world. They have no idea of where they're going, what is the aim of life, what is a bona fide guru, what is a bona fide religion. All these things are very confusing. And especially in America, all the devotees who are in the Western bodies, Indian bodies, whatever bodies we are, we're very fortunate to have all this. We don't have to go through the austerity. A lot of devotees went through great trials and tribulations during the 1960s, 70s, but we have everything handed on a silver plate. So let's work together cooperatively and then do something wonderful for Srila Prabhupada. I was having a conversation with Vishwakarma. I was telling him Srila Prabhupada liked to do big things, and he was always a big visionary for Krishna. So was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So was Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So this is in the lineage, to think big and to profess this Krishna consciousness in every town and village. So Srila Prabhupada started that, and let's continue it, till the end of the golden age.
Jai.
I see that Nilesh Dalal's with the Shama. Prabhu, you have your hand up.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Very interesting what you were talking about. I wanted to share some insights into it. Is that you were talking about science, the science which says Jnana Vijnana Sahitam in chapter 9, verse 1 of Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada calls Jnana as knowledge and Vijnana as realized knowledge. Now,
Yes.
Vijnana also can be interpreted as science. Now, what is the difference between science and knowledge? We can get knowledge, theoretical knowledge or didactic knowledge even in a classroom. Like this can be considered as a classroom where Yashodanand Prabhu and Vishwakarma Prabhu are taking this particular class and we are gaining this knowledge. But this knowledge cannot become science. We are not just using this knowledge is to appeal to our intelligence, and through that intelligence we bring about if it appeals to our intelligence, we need to bring about a change in our own lifestyle.
Yes.
Until and unless we don't put into practice. Remember, whenever you studied a science subject, there were two aspects to a science subject. One is didactic and the second one is lab. In the lab, you were taught what you learned in the classroom and how it can transmit or how it can be transposed into actual practical knowledge. You see? So Jnana Vijnana Sahitam, when we talk about that, means whatever you hear from Yashodananda Prabhu, whatever we are hearing from Vishwakarma Prabhu, we need to put it into practice only if it appeals to our intelligence. Because through that intelligence, and remember, Prabhupada tells us in Srimad Bhagavatam, especially Canto 2, Chapter 2, I just finished reading that text number 36. He talks about that Paramatma talks to us through this intelligence. Remember again the shloka. We talk about Bhagavad Gita is Bhaunam Janmanam Ante Jnanvan Mam Prapadyante. Jnanvan means the one who possesses that knowledge. How do we become the possessor of this knowledge? How can we surrender to Krishna? Is through the actual practical application of this particular subject matter into it. That is why Prabhupada never told us, these are the diktats, these are the 10 commandments, you have to follow it. No. He is appealing to our intelligence. Because only through this intelligence can we modify our lifestyle for good, stick to it, and then move forward. You see? So that is the reason why when we say don't change the books, we are distributing. Now, another aspect which I wanted to share was last time which I wanted to talk to when it was posed about the donation part. You know, and you brought about an interesting point about this fighter.
Yes.
Yes. He said that we have become lazy. Yes. Because just donating money and says, okay, I'm done, I've done my job is not enough. It is not enough. You need to get involved. You need to talk. You need to share your thoughts, your realizations, your questions, because even through your questions, we get to learn too. You see, because this is the manthan. Manthan means the actual churning, the churning of this knowledge. When you don't churn the buttermilk, the cream is not going to come out. So if we want the cream of this realization, this interaction through this churning of this knowledge has to be done. So just donation is not enough. Get involved. You get the books. Otherwise, you see now what is happening in modern day ISKCON. What are these gurus saying? Oh, just send me the money and I will distribute the Bhagavad Gitas on your behalf. Now, how much of those Bhagavad Gitas are distributed, how much are not, who knows? So don't become complacent by just donation. Get involved. Tan, man, and dhan. They say that. Try to involve with your body, your mind, and your opulence, which is money or whatever it may be. You may have a certain gift, like conducting these technical part of this presentation and everything. You can do that. So everybody needs to get involved, and that is Sevaya. This is what I wanted to share. Hare Krishna.
Yes, it's very valuable insights that you're sharing with us. And it is important for everyone to participate by cooperating, this is a problem that a lot of people have, is giving up their so-called independence, free will, to the will of the mission. And they're more interested in personal success rather than collective success, even though we see that this is the art of how to be successful. Right now in Canada, there's a sporting event going on called the NHL. It's the National Hockey League. And there's a team from Canada, Edmonton, that's playing against the team in Florida, Nilesh, actually, called the Florida Panthers. And it's interesting to note that some of the people on the team are considered to be the best players in the world from the Canadian team. But they do not refer to themselves as the best players. They're simply members of a team of players that are working together cooperatively to win the Stanley Cup. Now, this is a mundane example of how people should work together. But why is it that the ISKCON group is so fragmented, so segregated, despite the fact that we have these brilliant teachings from Srila Prabhupada to guide us? It's obvious that the people within the group are contaminated by a variety of items that it's called Maya, illusion. Sometimes people don't like to be chastised or told what to do. Oh, who do you think you are, telling me to do this or that? Well, any organization, any group has direction. And we are interested in working with people that understand the true meaning of teamwork and cooperation and service. Sure, people can come, like you said, it's all right to come and be a part, but eventually we're hoping that people step up and join this service movement that we're creating for everyone's benefit. For example, and I've been trying to get a hold of Shama Sundar and Adasa Avatar, and if they can get a hold of me, where we want them to be part of the distribution network of these books. In other words, we have 17 offices we're setting up for distribution. 17 worldwide. That's progressive. And another point that you made, Nilesh, which sorry, Yashoda, I'm going to ask you to speak after this. Another very valuable point that you made was that you have to take this service and apply it into your life. That means, and it's interesting to note, Prabhus, that they're distributing hundreds of millions of books in America. Hundreds of millions have been sold, from small books to big books to medium books, all these books. How many devotees are in the Mississippi Temple? How many? Nobody. Nobody. How many people are in the New Orleans Temple? Nobody. I watched an arti. There was the pujari, and her husband was chanting, and there were 2 other people standing in the room chanting along. 4 people. Is that a lot? So book distribution means cultivate people. Yashoda knows I've introduced him to quite a few people. I'm just giving a small example here. I have a group of people around me working hard to try to help them become Krishna conscious, become a devotee, get some kind of credits in this human form of life while they're still alive by giving them prasadam, getting them to say the holy name, trying to get them to read the Gita. It is not easy to make devotees. Believe that. Like a lot of people, they talk to me, like for example, these so-called gurus that these people have, they don't make devotees. We have this devotee, I think it's Caitanya Ram in Edmonton. He couldn't even figure out what Gopal Krishna was saying at the talk. He never communicated with them. He have no idea. He has no idea what this fellow is doing, perpetrating himself as a bona fide guru. You've got to cultivate people. You've got to work at them. You've got to have a list, Krishna Kata, of people that you're trying to cultivate to become devotees and create an environment where you are, where there's some kind of momentum to spread Krishna consciousness, and then distribute these books to them. Get these books to them. I have a friend, Trevor, Dr. Trevor, he could be listening on YouTube. And I managed to distribute books to him. It was a destiny when he came to my house and saw the books. He was actually captivated when he saw my bookcase. And I was really shocked to see that, Yashodanandana Prabhu, how inquisitive he was looking at the books, because he's been in the pursuit of knowledge for all his life. And then he saw Prabhupada's books. He goes, well, what are these books? I said, well, this is the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I did the explanation. Oh, I want to buy them right now. And I sold him a set of Srimad Bhagavatams. I sold him a Bhagavad Gita. I sold him, and today he called me on the phone. He goes, oh, I just read from Science of Self-Realization how people are, instead of worshiping God, they're serving dog. He goes, you've got to bring that up in class tonight. He wanted me to bring that up. People are always engaged in service, but they're in service of dog. But here's the point. I told Trevor today, you've got to chant. You've got to chant your rounds. Now, I'm his friend, so I'm not yelling at him. I'm requesting him. Chant, because the more you chant, the more you'll make advancement. Because this is a science of indestructible science of spiritual advancement. So like that, you have to have a collage of people, Krishna Kata, around you, like you're working with, whoever they are, and even your pets. You can help them to become Krishna conscious. We, here at the Hamilton ashram, we have a whole bunch of pets out in the backyard. Did you know that, Yashoda? We have pets. And our prasadam, when the prasadam is after 2 days, I distribute it. I give it to Walter, who's here at the ashram. I tell him, go feed the pets out in the back. What are the pets? Well, we have squirrels. We have a whole herd of squirrels now because we're distributing peanuts to them every day. Then we've got rabbits. We've got raccoons. And they come right up to everybody, and they want their peanuts and this and that. So they're getting some benefit. Even the animals can get benefit if you give them prasadam. I'm going to a school reunion on Saturday from high school. Now remember, I'm 76 years old, so all these people that I'm going to see are all the same age, 76. I asked the coordinator, well, how many people have died recently? He goes, well, 8 people have died from the group. Oh, so they're not there anymore. There was a priest, Eric Reynolds. He was a priest from Cathedral. He became a priest. I said, is Eric going to be there? He goes, no, he's dead. So time is marching. I was trying to figure out why I should go. And then I thought, okay, I'll make a sabji, I'll make a rice, I'll offer it to Lord Caitanya, to Krishna, here to Prabhupada, and give the prasadam. I always pray when I'm offering the food, Krishna, please accept this prasadam so that when the other people that eat it, that I distribute it to, they get the benefit of your mercy. They are getting the benefit of Lord Chaitanya's mercy from here, not Vishwa. And in this way, we try to somehow or other propagate. So everyone in their own, Nilash, I know you're working towards this yourself, and we appreciate that. And if there's any help you want with us, we're always ready to be a part of whatever idea that you have. We can help, because we do have a lot of ideas. Ron Singh knows we have a lot of programs we're coming up with. I was, in my Karmi days, a professional promoter. So is it better to promote Krishna consciousness? Well, that's invaluable. for me as a devotee, that's invaluable to be able to dovetail my talents in Krishna service, whether it's business or prasadam distribution or book distribution or organized night. We want 17 centers. And if anybody here, not centers, but offices, just like you have that Edward Jones company, Nilesh, they have offices. You put the list up on our letterhead. We're designing with Vinkat right now, Bhatta, a letterhead. And we're going to put up all the branch offices so people know this is spreading throughout the world, step by step. Our classes, our newsletters, our websites, our group pages we're over 19,000 people on Facebook now, over 19,000. And I just put up a post, Yashoda, about an hour ago, and it's flooding with comments. Flooding. We have one post, we have 8,000 views, just one. So we have hundreds of thousands of views. We're gradually spreading the movement, and it will happen if we all join together in a unified manner to spread the mission, not as an institution, as members of the Sankirtan truth that Srila Prabhupada delivered to us. Yashodanandana Prabhu, if you could wrap it up for us, please.
I don't know if Puranjan is still on the call. Maybe you could ask him to pass a few comments before we...
He
I
is.
think I still see him. Puranjan, you available? Haribo? Puranjan?
Hello, Haribo.
Oh, Haribo. Go ahead.
Hey, Haribo.
Howdy, Bo.
Hi. Yeah, I put up some videos recently about the history of ISKCON and things like that, and I got an interesting message from a devotee in Vrindavan, and he watches all my videos, and he says him and his mom watch all my videos. They really like it. So he's catching way up with everything. He really likes our idea, and he's trying to spread that in Vrindavan to other people. I also get different contacts at different times from people in India who are complaining about major problems going on in ISKCON. So they see me as an outlet for helping, get their view out on some of these problems. So and then I've been taking their messages and reposting them on a forum where people are discussing that, and it's good. It's exposing some of these leaders. And I also got a brand new friend who's been in ISKCON for 25 years. And he says they wouldn't let him ever use his computer or go online, and he just had no idea about all kinds of things. Just not waking up to all kinds of things. So we're making progress for sure. I mean, it's all connected together. The people that come with on my side will join your guys' program, and we'll all eventually, like you say, unite all of this together. And I'll just turn them on to the programs that we're doing, and we'll just keep making progress in different ways. But I feel very encouraged. I'm getting really good messages from all over the place, in Poland and Czechoslovakia and India and everywhere. So it's very encouraging. We are making progress.
Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll move forward with the Hare Krishna Kirtan. And don't forget, I think, Ron, if you could put up the link for the GoFundMe campaign, if you want to donate for our mission to publish these books, please do. Don't be shy. And we'll listen to the Kirtan with Prabhupada playing the bongo drum back in the 60s and chant along with us. And we'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday and Sunday as time marches. It's marching so fast. It's extraordinary. Every time I turn up, it's Wednesday. I look at the clock, I go to Walter. It's Wednesday already. It's Friday, it's Saturday already. It's Sunday already. And it's already heading for the middle of June, 2024. So everybody get on the parade and let's march forward together. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Hare Krishna. Thanks, Venkat Bhatta Prabhu, for hosting the program. Thanks, everybody, for your comments and participation. We will see you all on Saturday morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Coast, Hamilton, Ontario time. Hare Krishna. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Jai devotees, Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangscha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य